Welcome to GEMS Orbit. In this video, we will be learning about the concepts of layers, stacking objects, transparency, and blend modes. Transparency or opacity is basically how see-through an object is. Now this canvas in Adobe Illustrator is by default transparent, that is of zero opacity. Let me just show you the transparent grid by pressing Ctrl+Shift+D on my keyboard. As you can see, this means that we need to create a background first for our canvas. Otherwise, when you're saving your work as an image, it will just have a transparent background and you will only be able to see the pixels where the objects are. So we will just create an opaque background for our canvas here by clicking on this rectangle tool. We'll just simply draw a square. I'm just making a plain white background for my design, and I'll also be locking this layer up so that I don't accidentally end up moving my background. You can toggle the lock by clicking here whenever you want. Now to understand the concept of layers, let me just first draw a new layer by clicking right here on the bottom. You can imagine layers like stacked up transparent sheets. So for example, something that you create on the topmost layer, layer 3, will be fully visible. But an object that you create on the layer 2, if some portion of it's getting covered up by what we had drawn on the topmost layer, that area will just not be visible. All the rest of the pixels on this layer 3 are transparent, and hence you can see this rectangle that was placed underneath in the layer 2. Now you can also change the opacity of the objects. For example, if I want to be able to see this yellow rectangle just a little bit more, I will turn down the opacity of this green rectangle by going to the properties panel and clicking here and just bringing the opacity down like that. If I want to move both of these objects together, both of these layers have to be unlocked. It's always a good practice to keep your different objects in different layers. But say you want both of these rectangles in one layer, but you still want the green one to be on the top. Well, for that, what you can do is, first, I just brought the green rectangle from the layer 3 to layer 2. Now to bring this one on top, you just have to select it and right click and go to Arrange. This lets you change the stacking order of objects. So now we can just click on Bring to Front. Let me turn up the opacity for you to see it more clearly. We can bring it back again. To toggle the visibility on and off for an entire layer, what you can do is click here on this eye kind of an icon. This way you can choose to see which layers do you want to contribute to the final design. Now we will move on to understanding blending modes. Blend modes are basically all the multiple ways in which the pixels of two objects interact with each other. You can see how two objects blend with each other in the area that they are overlapping. The object on the top is called the active layer, to which your blending mode basically applies. Using transparency and blend modes, you can create pretty cool looking effects in visual design softwares. By clicking on the opacity, you can open up this list of blending modes here. Let me just change the color of the background so we can see blending modes in action in a better way. We applied this blending mode to this object on the top, and as you can see, the appearance of it will change depending on what all objects you have underneath it. So I can keep changing the color of the background here, and the appearance of this rectangle will change accordingly. Let's try a couple more blending modes. The names of these modes are, I think, pretty self-explanatory. You can keep messing around with them till you feel like you have a hang of them. Exploring and playing around, I think, is a huge part of self-learning. So I recommend you to spend as much time as you can, and I'm pretty sure you'll end up finding so many cool things to do. I hope you got a glimpse of how to use these tools and what all cool things you can do with them. In the next video, we'll learn about the infamous pen tool, amongst many other things. I hope to see you there. And lastly, thanks for watching.